coming here. I'm not coming here with a belt, but I'm coming here with my heart on my sleeve.
Introducing first, by way of Nashville, Tennessee.
This is the majority of everyone's journey in life anyway.
Me and my son prayed for Daddy's belt every single night for the last 2 months. The growth happens in these moments. I truly believe I'm still going to be a UFC champion. It's just going to take a little bit longer than I thought. You have to keep moving from setback to setback without losing the enthusiasm.
Fail your way to the top. Like, you go through so many setbacks to end up see you at the top, getting to the top. Like, it's not just some escalator that takes you up there.
The old Michael focused so much on being perfect once I got to a certain point, once I won that first world title. And truthfully, it says so much more about how you conduct yourself after a loss, that this is part of the journey. And when we do win that belt, when the belt does come on the belt for the boys, with the boys, it's going to be even better.
All right, we rolling? Yep. Do we need a clap?
Yeah, a round of applause for the boys. Just for all the boys out there. All the boys out there watching and listening.
This episode of Bussin' with the Boys is brought to you by Chevy, specifically the Chevy Silverado. How much do you love Chevy, Mike?
Like a rock.
Is that right?
I think. I mean, it used to be.
Okay, right? I hope so.
I hope.
Is somebody supposed to be nodding back there? Like, yeah, it's good. That's what I'm saying. It's not the other one. It's not the...
I don't know why they stopped doing it. That was like the coolest...
That was the best little jingle.
Best
nice
jingle
little
ever,
commercial. Rolling, bumping in the gravel and stuff.
Like a rock, dude.
Like a rock. The strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. It is strong, dependable, gritty, just like the people who drive them, you all. The design is big, bold, and commanding, and this truck turns heads. Have you seen the new Silverado? I'm sure. Listen, there's a plethora of them out there on the highway.
I actually haven't, so it's hard to distinguish what's brand new.
It's hard to spot which one's the new one. The new one is beautiful. Hey, the best looking one is the Carhartt edition.
Oh,
have you guys seen the Carhartt edition, the Chevy Silverado? That thing, I almost cursed. I'm glad I caught myself because they don't want us to curse in the.
Did they do Carhartt
admins.
like seats? They should do Carhartt seats,
dude. I'm talking inside and out. Are we able to bring up a photo? Yeah. Hey, and while we're bringing up this photo, towing, moving day. Hey boys, hey, help me out. Somebody bring up the thing. Hauling your boat. Pulling a lot of weight. Road tripping.
Most importantly, American made.
American made. Yes.
That's all. That's the most important. Right
helping
there.
out your family and friends. Go to a dealership near you. Tell them the boys sent you, and support your local Chevy dealership, boys. We have on Mike Chandler. We will get into all of the fun stuff. I was pleasantly surprised that you still wanted to come on and do the podcast. I didn't count you out of not coming and doing the pod, just because when I was reaching out to you, I'm just like, number one, I was telling Garrett on the way over here, just like how much of a pro and just how high your emotional intelligence is in the first place. So like when something like that happens, like obviously people want to find stuff, like your corner wants to find things to tell you that's going to lift you up because everybody wants to be there for you.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they experience the loss with you.
Yep.
And so when I'm texting you, it's like, this dude knows. Like, he knows the game. How long have you been fighting?
Be 13 years in August.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've been in the fight game so long, it's like, it just seems like the biggest moment because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's the UFC 262. Like, it seems so huge because it's, obviously, I know all of us, we're tuning in watching, like, again, I was telling Cody, because we're all fired up at the house watching, we're moving. It's up like when Cody used to wrestle.
Yeah.
Like being on the mat watching him wrestling. And then when it happens, you're just kind of like, it just takes the energy out and the moment seems so huge at that point in time. But it's like, you've been in the fight game so long, this is like part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I think the biggest thing, and this is why to give a little bit of background, we already planned this to be here, we planned it to have the belt on the bus.
Yeah, he's like, the belt is coming to the bus, and I'm like, hey, that's fucking sick.
And you sent me a nice text, like keep your head up type of deal, and then you followed back up, and then I said, hey, just so you know, like I'll see you on the bus, and we were like, I'm not quite sure if okay, yeah, if you're down with it, let's go. But
you don't have to feel me out.
No,
like that, the seat was open. Because I was like, hey man, thinking about you.
Yeah.
And said something else, and you're like, yo. Can I still come on the bus at 1 p.m.? I was like, you're goddamn right. Like, we got a seat warm for you.
Well, and that's the thing, man. The old me would have, I kind of give a talk now about, because I lost 3 fights in a row, 688 days I went without winning a fight back a couple years ago, and I made 3 mistakes. And the first mistake I made was I wanted to hide from the loss. Media was calling me. I was up for Fight of the Year. They wanted me to present an award at the World MMA Awards. Hey, come present this award. I didn't take anybody's phone calls, anybody's text messages, anybody's emails. I was off social media because I was just embarrassed, ashamed. I wanted to hide. But man, this is where the growth happens. The growth happens in these moments where I can sit next to you. I mean, a guy who's lost. I mean, you're an athlete. Everyone in here, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, if you're a non-athlete, we all suffer loss. We all suffer setbacks. We all make promises that we want to make good on. Like, I wanted to bring that belt home. Like, me and my son prayed for Daddy's belt every single night for the last 2 months. The last 8 weeks, we prayed every single night about Daddy's belt and why Daddy is gone, why Daddy has to be in Florida, has to be working, has to be training, has to be away from his son, away from his fatherly duties, away from the promise that I made to him. So I wanted to make good on that promise, but the belt is just the piece of the 12 pounds of leather and gold that signifies being a world champion. But in order to be a champion in life, you have to keep moving from setback to setback without losing the enthusiasm, without losing the steam, with complete disregard to my previous failures, my previous setbacks, one that just happened 48 hours ago. I still got the black eye to prove it.
That wasn't
millions of people saw it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people saying a lot of things about me, eating my words, and I wasn't that good, or I was, but I'm choosing not to hear those things and just moving forward in a positive light, that this is part of the journey. And when we do win that belt, when the belt does come on the belt for the boys, with the boys, it's going to be even better. So I hit the ground running this morning. I got a sauna session in 40 minutes, just, discipline myself like Tom.
Is the sauna at your house?
No, I actually have one here. It's not put together. We just moved and stuff. So I just went to the YMCA, which was much hotter anyway. So I sat there for 40 minutes and sweated out the sweat that was in me for that fight, and then sweated it out. Monday morning we hit the ground running, did something for my body, my soul, and now here we are talking about it, expressing through the loss, admitting the failure. But not only admitting the failure, sitting here with a smile on my face saying, Saturday really did end Saturday night, and Sunday morning a new sun rose, and Monday morning the sun rose again, a little bit more painfully, a little bit more, right. A little bit more tough, but man, it's all part of life. This whole thing, and that's why people are drawn to mixed martial arts, it's a metaphor for life. Like what I went through on Saturday night, had a great first round, won 10-8 on 2 of the 3 scorecards, and then got caught and lost. And the other guy left with the belt that I was supposed to have. But this is life.
Talk about, because before we get into all the fight and everything like that, talk about the next 24 hours after that loss, after you recollected your thoughts, you give the interview with Joe Rogan. Like, what are the next 24 hours actually like? Like, yes, the sun does rise. And I think this is I was telling Garrett on the way over, the reason I was fired up about talking to you is because this is the majority of everyone's journey in life anyway, is failures most of the time. You fail your way to the top. Like, you go through so many setbacks to end up see you at the top, getting to the top. Like, it's not just some escalator that takes you up there. Like, this is the majority of what life looks like, is losing.
Yep.
So take us through those first 24 hours after the loss, after the press conference. You're banging your head against the mic. Yep. Like, you can see the emotion. Like, it sucked watching it. And you just know, like, fuck, man. Take us through those first 24, 48 hours.
Well, I think the hardest part about mixed martial arts is it is just so tumultuous. There is always a chance that you can lose, even if you're 1,000-to-1 favorite. Man, we're wearing 4-ounce gloves, these tiny little bitty gloves, and you have these spots on your body, the temple, the chin, wherever it may be, the liver, wherever it may be, where the body just shuts off and says, nope, we're done, and the fight is over. And I prepared perfectly. I left no stone unturned. I did every single thing that I possibly could, lived my life like a champion. From the moment Hunter Campbell, who is number 2 in command at the UFC, and then Dana called me that same day. And whenever they called me and said, hey, you're fighting Charles Oliveira May 15th for the UFC title, from that moment, I lived my life like a champion, did exactly what I needed to do to put myself in the best situation to win. So when it's over and you don't win, then it's just, you know, the kind of the banging my head on the mic. I think it was after a reporter named Mark Raimondi asked me a question about something, and that's when it, you know, every now and then it just kind of hits you, and you're like, dang man, it's over. Like it's over. You can't get this one back. It's not a dream. You're not going to wake up and the bell's about to ring and you're going to get another chance.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what we were saying. Like, I'm going to let you finish that thought too. But when you like lose a playoff game or something happens where it's just not, and it was the same thing when it was final that you had lost. It's like waking up from a dream and that bell's going to ring again and you're going to have another shot.
Yep. Because I've had those nightmares, and a lot of times I do have those nightmares 2 weeks before, right, 2-3 weeks before the fight. I imagine, or I think I wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night, like I got knocked out, I got choked out, or I got extremely tired, I got outclassed, I just got beat, and you know, that's kind of what it felt like when the press conference is over. Then it's like, okay, now you go back to normal life. I knew even after the fight, back there, it was just me and my wife. I'm freaking crying my eyes out. USADA is right there. I pretty much almost cussed that guy out because I'm like, dude, give me a second to breathe, man. Like, I'm gonna pee in your cup. It's fine.
Oh, he's trying to get you to take a piss test right when you got back.
Oh man. Well, I went back to go see the doctor, and he's doing the lights in the eyes to check my eyes, check my balance, check my concussion, whatever protocols. And he's there, and he's like, hey man, and I'm with USADA. You got to pee in this cup. I'm like, okay, well, give me a second, man. Like, give me 1 second. And so then he followed me back there, and it was just me and Bree. And then I, you know, did the USADA thing. I apologized to him because I wasn't the nicest.
Did you cuss?
Maybe, probably.
I don't know, man. You don't cuss. You're pretty tight. You're pretty disciplined with the cuss words.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. And I think it's that, you know, when it hits you that it's over. And that's the thing. I truly sit here with zero regrets. Like, I did every single thing that I possibly could. And this is just the nature of life in general, outside of an octagon, but in the octagon especially. It's just the nature of the business, man. You win some and you lose some. And unfortunately, you're going to lose often. I mean, I fought the number 3 guy in the world, a guy who was on an 8-fight winning streak, a guy who's now the number 1 guy in the world, a guy who, you know, he's great. He's good. My next fight is going to be against another guy who's top 5, who's great, whoever that is. Like, you're fighting in the upper echelon. You're going to lose. And so I think that was just it. It's like, man, if I had another shot, I would probably win that fight, you know? So you kind of, then you start playing, you replaying it over, and it's like, should I have let him up in the first round, and should I have done this, or should I have done that? But when you did every single thing that you possibly could to put yourself in the best situation to win, you really can't have any regrets. And that's the only thing I can ask for. If I lost that fight and I was like, gosh dang, man, if that weight cut wasn't so bad because I wasn't disciplined with my weight, or if I, you know, came in and I didn't, and I knew I didn't really train that hard, or I slacked in this area, I slacked in that area. I had none of that, because I did every single thing that I possibly could to win the fight, to get myself in the position when that cage door closed and that bell rang, that I was going to showcase my skills and may the best man win. That's what I said. That's what I always say. I preach it all the time. You got to embrace the uncertainty that's about to happen. And part of embracing that uncertainty is the fact that you may lose. Shoot, there might even be a 50% chance that you're going to lose, and more than 50% chance that you're going to lose, because you're fighting the best guy in the world. It's like you said, a playoff game. You don't just fall to the playoffs. You just fall into a playoff game. You have to be good enough to be in a playoff game, and then chances are you're playing against a team who is really freaking good.
And you're both rising to the occasion.
And then may the best man win. And the better man won that night, I guess, if you will, or that night he was the better man. We could fight 10 more times and I could win 10 more times. It's just part of the game.
I know, man. And two, I didn't know it took him so long to get a title fight. Somebody had mentioned a stat that it's been 11 years since, like, this was his first title fight. Yeah. And it's been like 11 years for him to be in the game to get a chance.
He signed with the UFC in 2010. I started fighting in 2009. So the guy's cut his teeth in the organization. And that's what I said. I mean, in a lot of people see the things that I say on the microphone or in interviews or this and that, like I'm hyping up a fight. And I wasn't hyping up a fight. I truly believed that Charles Oliveira wanted to win just as bad as I did. This was his opportunity. When he was born in the favelas of Brazil, which is like the ghettos of Brazil. And he had this glimmer in his eye that he was going to one day become a world champion in the UFC. This was that moment that he dreamed about, you know? And take nothing away from him. He beat me, you know, but I truly believed that I was going to beat him. And that's when magic happens. When you got two guys or two teams or two individuals fighting for the same exact thing. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. And then it just after that, it all depends on how does he respond as the champion and how do I respond as the guy who lost in the championship fight. And I think by sitting here speaking about it, we get to move forward quicker than if we hide from it, shield our eyes from it, not answer the phone calls, not, you know, all of a sudden just think that I'm not that good anymore, or fall into this self-pity, the perpetuating revolving door of, okay, maybe I'm not that good. And I truly believe I'm still going to be a UFC champion. Just going to take a little bit longer than I thought.
Dude, I mean, you're right, man. Adversity shows people who they are, because it's all about how you respond to anything that happens ever in your life. It's like all in your response about how you do it. Are we, we're not doing the whole interruption of the ad reads today, because this is fucking, we're not going to interrupt any type of juicy conversations. But is it time to do an ad read? All right. Free Fly Apparel. This episode of Bussin with the Boys is brought to you by Free Fly. Brands send us clothing all the time, and there aren't too many that I can actually say that I love enough to wear on a consistent basis. There is one brand that is so ridiculously comfortable, it's become my go-to for the past couple of years. And Free Fly, I've noticed the shorts. The shorts are now in my life. I've talked about the long sleeve shirts before. Hang on. Free Fly makes performance clothing made from buttery soft bamboo, and it literally feels just like that. Buttery soft bamboo. You might be asking, what is bamboo? What material is bamboo? You got to try this shit for yourself, boys, because it is that damn good. Do you have any Free Fly apparel? You probably do have Free Fly apparel. It's probably in your closet somewhere. I'm going to get you hooked up. I recently tried, like I just said, the shorts, and boys, I'm on board with the shorts. They got like the built-in. It's like the built-in briefs, like the compression shorts. Like a built-in compression short. And it's nice. Sweet. I'm talking, you can free ball in them. I'm usually nervous about the thighs rubbing together because of chafing, but you can wear these bad boys, Mike.
I like that.
The Free Fly apparel is nice, whether you're inside, outside, hitting the gym, lounging around the house, whatever you do. On top of being super comfortable, Free Fly's bamboo clothing also has UPF sun protection. It wicks away moisture and doesn't hold odor. You can get 20% off when you visit freeflyapparel.com/bussin. That's BUSSIN. Again, freeflyapparel.com/bussin. Okay, perfect. That was a decent little set. That's a decent little set in there. I saw the ad come up. The last couple of weeks we've interrupted. We have an alarm go off. And we have to immediately go in. You have to one take only. You don't know anything about what you're about to read. Dang. And you just go one take and go through the ad. And we had Josh Wolf on last week, and he just destroyed us, chirped us hard. But we've had fun with the ad reads. But to get back into the conversation about adversity creating, I think Taylor tweeted it the other night too. Adversity shows, or adversity. I almost just repeated what I said earlier. But essentially, adversity shows a man who he is. And another reason I was fascinated to sit with you, because I know you handle this stuff very well. I am curious, though, what you said earlier. The old Chandler would have not wanted to see anything, wanted to kind of hide, shell away, and stuff like that. Why were you that way back then? And why do you think it's different now?
I just think it's a maturation process. I think I'm much more comfortable in my own skin than I used to be. I make it no secret. I was a small guy from a small town who was taught to do small things, and I broke that mold. But part of that mold, but I also see, like, even raising a child, and you brought up your dog earlier. Like, what happens when a dog knows that he peed or pooped on the floor, and then you acknowledge it, the dog immediately runs away and tries to tuck their tail between their legs, and they want to run from it. They want to hide from it. When my son does something wrong, or when we're potty training him and he pees or poops in his pants, immediately he doesn't want to make eye contact. He's looking away. He even wants to lie. He wants to lie and tell you, no, I didn't, when you know darn well he did, because you can smell it.
Yeah.
I think it's partly human nature. I think it's partly you know, we as human beings, we don't want to let people down. We have this innate yearning to not let people down. And I think in mixed martial arts, it's such an individual sport too, that the loss was on display for everybody to see. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the boys' loss. You know, the boys were behind me, right? You're behind me, and Taylor's behind me. My team is behind me, but it's not their loss. It's my loss.
We go to bed later that night.
You know, and so it's such an individual thing. But in that, there's so much freedom because you have the opportunity to show people that even in an individual sport, even though I can, like I said, I was coming here, I'm not coming here with a belt, but I'm coming here with my heart on my sleeve. And I could show up today with my heart on my sleeve with complete disregard to that failure that I had just 48 hours ago. And not disregard for it, but I'm not going to let it hinder me. I'm not going to let it define me, because failure is an event and it's not a person. I am not a failure. I failed on Saturday night, but the way that I respond and the way that I move forward can prove to those that have failed and prove to those that have seen the failure or had failures that they can in the future still become a champion. And I truly, I mean, I was brought to tears earlier when I saw my wife make a post and she sent me a message, and that I am a world champion in life because of who I have in it, the things that I do have, the fact that I walked onto the bus with 2 capable arms and 2 capable legs, and I get to do what I love, and I have a platform to reach people, and I do have love in droves. I have health in droves. I have a ridiculous support system around me in abundance, and these are the things that last. That belt would have been awesome to bring on this bus, but it's just 12 pounds of golden leather, and it will tarnish and it will fade, and it means a lot. It means the epitome of accomplishment inside the confines of mixed martial arts competition. It means I'm the #1 guy in the world, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be healthy. It doesn't mean that I'm going to live a long and prosperous life that will in turn inspire, motivate, and reach people. So it's the old Michael would have wanted to not do this. The old Michael would have said, "Oh man, give me a couple weeks, and those weeks would have turned into a couple months, and they would have turned into, you know, sleepless nights, and they would have turned into a lot of self-pity, and they would have turned into a lot of blaming, and it would have turned into a lot of self-deprecating thing, which really, truthfully, is a lot of selfishness. I think we also look at our failures in a vacuum and say, well, I deserve this time to, and I do. I mean, if I, and I know you understand this too, if I would have said, hey man, I just need a couple weeks, you know, maybe I'll be back on the bus in a couple weeks, you would have not thought anything of it. Give him a couple weeks, let him cool off, let him lick his wounds, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I think I've earned that, but I also know it does sometimes come from a selfishness too, thinking that all of these things and these losses happen inside of a vacuum, and these things happened to us instead of for us. And I truly believe that this loss happened for me, so that this chapter of this journey, now we can close this chapter of the first world title. Now it was a loss, and now I get to build myself back up, and I get to have some amazing fights, and I get to have that next chapter, which will be winning the UFC title, I think, eventually. So I think the old Michael would have ran from it. The old Michael would have shielded himself from it, and thought that, okay, if I just block everything out, that's where the real healing can happen.
Or until I win again.
Or until I win again.
Yeah. So I know a lot of times people want to get back to the spot where they're, you know, obviously comfortable.
Well, that's the hardest,
because there's insecurity that comes with not wanting to face certain truths and stuff of that nature.
And that's the hardest part about mixed martial arts. I mean, you brought your brother up earlier. I mean, obviously most of the boys know I wrestled in high school, wrestled in college, and that was the best part about wrestling. If you lost on Wednesday, you got the opportunity to weigh in again Thursday or Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
And you get back in the win column. I'm not going to be able to get back in the win column and get my hand raised inside that UFC octagon until, you know, I don't know, November, December, January. So there's going to be months. And I can't wait that long. I can't wait that long to say, okay, I'll get back on the winning track back then, because my next training session will immediately become, okay, either I failed completely or I was successful today. And the old Michael focused so much on being perfect once I got to a certain point, once I won that first world title, once I got to that #3 in the world, #5 in the world, once I got that world ranking, I focused so much on being perfect, because that's what I thought a world champion was. That's what I thought the athlete at the highest level was. But truthfully, we're all human beings. We're all flawed individuals. We will suffer losses. We will suffer setbacks. And truthfully, it says so much more about how you conduct yourself after a loss than it would if I came here on the belt and on the bus with the belt. And not that trust me, boys, I wish I had the belt. I wish I won, but now it gives us an opportunity to talk about where do we go from here? How do we move forward from here? And luckily I've been here before, and I've battled back from worse than losing to number 3 guy in the world in a UFC title fight. There's a lot of great things that came from this weekend, and I think my response moving forward will do more for my legacy, for the future accolades, for the support system, for the boys, for the following, for the everything, than even the win, and I still got this story is far from being over.
What is kind of next for you? You mentioned November, December, January, February. You think it's going to be that long until you're able to get back in the ring?
I think, I've had a heck of a year, man.
You have had a year, but I feel like it's been a whirlwind.
We came in hot, man.
Because you had to be ready for the fight that you didn't end up fighting in. Yeah. That was one step, which was obviously a great move by everybody's part.
And it was a full training camp. Did a full training camp for that opportunity, which was just a backup role. Mm-hmm. And then I did another full training camp for January, and then another full training camp for May. Yeah. And now here we are, May 17th, and we're halfway through the year. So I'll probably be here in Nashville for a solid 2 months. I mean, I'm going to go back to Florida. I have a home down in Florida now, so it's much easier. Yeah, no, well, it was a mandatory situation. Yeah. Like I was doing the VRBO thing, and then I had to book a VRBO and book a rental car, and now I'm going to have my own life in Florida because
you got your team and your setup down there. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I have my gym here, obviously Nashville MMA, and we can train, and we can. There's the UFC calling me right now.
Do you want to answer? We can cut it off if you want to answer it. Hey, it's the UFC, man.
Yes, sir.
This episode of Bussin with the Boys is also brought to you by Roman. Boys, we have big news. Your favorite men's healthcare brand, Roman, is now available at Walmart. There we go. Round of applause, boys. Come on, Jack. Jack, come on. Roman's non-prescription products have got you covered with everything from sexual health to everyday health. Your well-being is important, and taking care of it should be simple. And now all you have to do is go to Walmart in real life. Roman is now available at Walmart. We're in your area, so let's go take care of it, boys. As for sexual health, Roman condoms are new and exclusive to Walmart. You won't find them anywhere else. Designed ultra thin, boys, ultra thin, which is important. Lubricated for pleasure and FDA cleared because safe is sexy. Over-the-counter medication, Roman swipes are an easy, discreet way to delay ejaculation and increase sexual stamina. Bet you didn't know that, Mike. They're fast-acting, and your partner will enjoy them too. Bree might like that, Mike. No, pass along desensitization. Oh, shit. God damn, here we go, boys.
Desensitization?
Desensitization, if you use as intended. Doctor formulated with 23 nutrients. Roman Daily is a multivitamin that is optimized with ingredients to support men's health and overall well-being. Roman's team of in-house doctors created this unique high-quality supplement to target nutrition gaps in men with specifically with scientifically backed ingredients and dosages. Remember, supplements are not a replacement for a healthy diet, exercise, and good sleep. You've got to eat your good greens and get your steps in, boys and girls. Since Roman Daily is a dietary supplement, not a drug, any mention of benefits of the product cannot allude to treating, diagnosing, curing, or preventing a disease or condition. Benefits or efficacy, did I say that right? Yep. Hell yeah. Statements should be kept to general maintenance of men's overall well-being, men's health and overall well-being. This is tough, boys. Visit your local Walmart store today and check out Roman's line of men's healthcare products. Shout out Roman, no free shout outs. That was a tough.
I love that you still do the no free shout outs. I love it, man. When I see it, and you're like, just want to give a shout out to freaking wherever we're at. No free shout outs. Love it, man.
You gotta stay at the roots, man. That's how we started.
It's so good.
So any decent news?
No, man. They're just
Calling and checking in.
just calling and checking in, man. And I'll tell you what, man. I love my career. I love Bellator. I love fighting for them. But the UFC is a special organization. The people that they have, the level at which they operate, the security staff, the operations staff, they are just high functioning individuals, man. They run the company and they invest in the company. They invest in the people like they're trying to take over the world. And that's what I love about them. And that's why I feel like I'm so equally yoked with them. So yeah, to get that phone call on Monday morning after the tough loss, it's good. But like I said, man, work boots are on. Maybe need to take a little bit of time off, let the body rest, let the body get back to neutral, cool the jets a little bit. But this journey is far from over.
Yeah, if I'm your agent on the phone, I'm saying, hey, 12 weeks, what we got, boys? Let's get back in the ring.
It's we'll see. I mean, like we said, like we were talking. I came out hot. So
yeah. 100%. And obviously, there's going to be some time in between now and your next fight. What is your routine and body maintenance and training camps and all that stuff? What's that going to look like for you for the next several months? Like, how does that work for a fighter? Because usually, yeah, you got a 12, 16 week camp, but outside of that, like, what does that stuff look like for you? So
for me, man, I've always just tried to treat my body head to toe like I'm a professional athlete, and I don't think a lot of fighters don't. You know, a lot of them show up into training camp 8 weeks, 10 weeks out before, ready to get in shape, shed the fat, get your cardio back up, man. I want to be in tip-top shape and ready to go the day my feet hit the pavement down in Florida and I can move forward and do training camp in shape, lean, ready to go, so I can just work on skills, just work on game plan, just work on acquiring new skills. So between training camps, I landed on Sunday, hit the sauna this morning. So I'll do strength and conditioning this week. My body's not banged up. I'm a little bit sore here and there. Took a couple leg kicks. Hands are sore as heck from, punching or whatever.
Beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, my hands are freaking sore, dude. But, but it's just the little things that I can just work around and just keep my body moving. Because I truly believe this. I don't think we get old. I think we get lazy and we get busy. We get really busy and then we justify and then we become lazy. So I think at 35 years old, I feel like I'm still 25. My body still feels like I'm 25 because I've stuck to my body work. I use my roller every day. I use my So Right every day. I did not miss supplements.
I see the So Right plug.
When I brought my supplements to the arena with me on Saturday night so I could take them Saturday night, and I took them. Woke up Sunday morning. I already had another bag ready. Took them Sunday morning. Have not missed my supplements since. And I imagine most people are like, dude, that's only for training camp. I'm good. I'm going to take a couple days off. Not me. I actually doubled my dose of omegas because I took some shots to the head. Tripled my dose of turmeric and curcumin, glutathione, antioxidants. So just like ridding my body of the inflammation. We're doing some homemade enchiladas tonight. Shout out to Breeze Enchiladas. No free shouts.
No shout outs. No free shouts to Breeze Enchiladas, dude.
Going to Corner Pub, picking up some smoked chicken for enchiladas.
Nice.
Shout out Corner Pub. No free shout outs. So like it'll be a good home cooked meal. Like that's kind of feel like a cheat meal, but it's still healthy. Like.
It depends. What are you putting on the enchiladas now?
Yeah, dude. Breeze
Is cheese going on the enchiladas?
I'm not a big cheese guy, so I'm gonna lightly spread some cheese. A lot of sour. I'm a big sour cream guy though. No free shouts. Sour cream.
just anything you say. Hey,
Daisy sour cream. No free shouts.
Yeah. Hey, I went to the bathroom. Hey, no free shouts to that bathroom, dude.
So back to my body and taking care. I mean, like, dude, I just want to. I always say this too. As a fighter, we always think, okay, well, punching, kicking, kneeing, elbowing, grappling, and grappling defense. Those are the most important things. But I also think if all things are equal and we're just as good, if me and my opponent strike the same and we grapple the same, we wrestle the same, the guy who is the better athlete, who can push for longer, and not just push for longer, but push for longer after it gets painful, who is mentally tough, physically tough, and a better athlete, that guy is going to probably be the guy who has a better chance of winning. So I've always just tried to become a better athlete, especially between training camps. So I'll be doing a ton of strength and conditioning, lifting a little bit heavier, put on a little bit more muscle mass that I lost during training camp, because for 8 to 10 weeks, I'm basically operating at a calorie deficit every day to shed the fat, lose a little bit of muscle mass so I can make 155. Like, I woke up this morning at 184.
Oh shit.
Yeah, in a week or two I'll probably be closer to 190, after I put on maybe a little bit of body fat. So I'm like cutting from 190 to 155. So I got to lose a little bit of muscle mass to get down to
Yo, that's insane, man.
Yeah, it's
190 down to 155.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's the worst part about fighting. But
at what point were you 155? Like, when was the weigh-in?
Friday morning.
And you're right now at what? What'd you say?
184 this morning.
So you're walking around already 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's 30.
Hey, is that 30? Hey, somebody check that. Somebody check the fucking tape. Did we say 84? It was 80.
80.
Carry the weight.
That's 30.
Yeah.
Almost 30. I mean,
29.
And granted, I flew yesterday,
Cole, what are you still fucking doing here?
Somebody grab a calculator.
Just get mad and lash out at somebody. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, it's not as easy for you. Like, but I always know 85 is 30, 75 is 20.
Yeah, that's bad by me. I pride myself on math, so there goes any math credibility I have out there.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But if you ask me, 120 something to 150 something, I don't know what that is, but I know what 150 something to 170 something, 80 something, 90 something.
I get it. I didn't get it right, man.
No, you're good, bro. It's that Missouri education,
Yeah,
we both got it.
Yeah. We're good. Yo, so you're walking around 30 pounds heavier.
Yeah, 30 pounds heavier ish.
How much weight do you gain from the weigh into the fight?
So that was, I was about 177 when I did my workout Saturday morning, because I always do a shakeout. I always do like a hard pad session Saturday morning, sweat a little bit, shake it out a little bit, go over a little bit of game plan stuff, and then we fight Saturday night. So I was like 177.
So you're already up over 20 pounds.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. Well, I mean, just simple nuts and bolts, like a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds, and I can crush a gallon of water in the first hour. So I'm already up 8 pounds. And then after 2 hours, 3 hours, I'm already through 2 gallons of water. That's 16 pounds,
Is it like the old wrestling days where you go to when you're a kid, you weigh in, you make weight, and you go to the nearest buffet in town and you just load the plate up?
No, man. That's one of the great things about the UFC. No free shouts, no shout outs. No shout outs to the UFC.
And no free shout outs to buffets either.
No buffets.
No fucking free shout outs.
Golden Corral, don't you act like you got it. But no, they had all their meals set up. So, I mean, I had a big old thing of rice and salmon, rice and chicken afterwards. So I had been eating essentially the same thing for the last 8 weeks. So the last thing I want to do, I want everything in me wanted to go grab a pizza,
no doubt,
or even like a big pasta or something. And I think I actually did have one gluten-free pasta that night. No free shouts to pasta.
I thought we would come together and bond over a memory of like being young, making weight. You go to the nearest buffet, but you like, no, salmon, rice, and shit. Like, okay, yeah.
No,
I thought before your UFC title fight, you're fucking pounding.
I just wanted to keep. I wanted to keep it all the same, and then and then afterwards, even that night, man, after the fight, I finally ate that Snickers. Did you hear about the Snickers?
No.
Like there was so right before I got the phone call from Hunter Campbell, like 2 days before, no, I guess a couple days before that, we were at an airport because we went to San Diego, and Bree got me a Snickers. No free shouts, but she got me a Snickers. It's my favorite candy bar, and I stuck it in my bag, and I didn't eat it, and it stayed with me the whole trip. I forgot it, and then I got the phone call that I was fighting for the UFC title, and then that same day I pulled it out, and I'm like, dang, dude, I can't eat this now. This sucks. So I had it down in Florida with me for the last 2 months, like. Kind of set it up on my like I'm not gonna eat you.
Yeah.
This is like me.
Yeah.
My flex
creating boundaries.
Yeah. And then so it made the countdown show, it made the countdown show, and it made the embedded show, and then people immediately came and were like, look at Chandler trying to get the Snickers sponsorship, or look at the UFC shamelessly promoting Snickers, and I was like, no man, that's just a funny story, Yeah.
But Snickers, if you want to sponsor our boy, Chandler.
Yeah, no free shouts.
If you want to be for the boys,
yeah, exactly.
Then pony up and call in.
But it was after the fight. It was already so late, I didn't hit the press conference till almost 1, and then everything was pretty much closed. Like I could have got pizza or could have got something. I was like, babe, because Bree was like, hey, what can I get you? I want to get you some food, get you this. What do you want? And alcohol's out of the question because I got TKO'd, so I wasn't gonna drink anything.
Yeah.
But as far as food, all bets are off. I could have eaten anything, but then it's like, this would make me feel real depressed if I really fill myself with a bunch of freaking food. So I was like,
Processed
I'm gonna
food.
eat. Yeah, I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat this Snickers, and I think I ate like another protein bar or something, and that was it. And then I woke up the next morning and had breakfast. But
Snickers is your favorite candy bar?
by far, yeah.
That's what I took out of that whole thing.
Yeah, but I used to have them like back in wrestling, but all the way back to wrestling, man. Like just get done with weigh-ins, those wrestling tournaments, loud as heck. You're just freaking munching on a Snickers or like Goober. Did you ever have Goober back in the day?
Yeah,
Goober,
the chocolate, yeah, Goobers.
No, it was the jar that had peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly. It's called Goober.
No, I don't think so.
Goober.
I thought Goobers were like a little ball that you get the movies or some shit.
I think it was the brand is what it was. But yeah, it was like,
Goober.
yeah, there
Is it called Goober?
Yep.
Yeah, man, like that with on some bread. That's what reminds me of wrestling.
Sounds like it's just called a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Pretty much, but it's peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a jar. You don't have to have a jar of peanut butter and a jar of jelly and the bread.
Yeah.
So you only have 2 ingredients instead of 1.
I want to go back to the Snickers.
Oh yeah. No free shouts.
Top 3 candy bars.
Snickers, Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth for sure.
Are you just trying to be different there? Or you really like
No,
love Baby
you
Ruth
don't like Baby
that?
Ruth?
I like Baby Ruth. I don't think it's in my top 3.
Yeah, and then Almond Joy. Coconut, almond, chocolate. Top 3. 100%. All 3. No free shouts to any of you guys.
Almond Joy?
Yeah, bro. Kind
on.
of light.
All the candy bars out there?
Kind of light. I mean, I'm probably missing a couple, but I'm a creature.
You're missing Reese's.
Yeah, no, I do. I like Reese's in ice cream. Like I'm like a big Reese's.
Oh,
ice cream
I'm a
guy.
sucker for Reese's and ice cream, bro.
Yeah.
Anything chocolate, I'm a big chocolate guy.
Yeah.
Like you'll go into the frozen yogurt, little spot, get you. First of all, you sample the entire place.
Yeah, you have to sample.
And you probably sample it again because you're like,
Not quite sure.
you got to go through the whole list, even the sherbet that they try to put in there that make you feel better about yourself. Like I'll try this sherbet and be like, yeah, I don't like sherbet again. You got to try them all, and then you got to eliminate. Then you got to make it to the second round. Then you try it, sample a few more. By that time, you're already getting a little full, but you know what you want.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I like
at that point, it's all chocolate for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't sample the fruit stuff.
Same. I'm not the fruit bar stuff either. Like it'll be like
People
all
put
the
the strawberries and stuff.
yeah.
Like, no, man,
I'm talking all the candies, all the like the caramel, the fudge. That's the best. Boys, what are your guys' top candy bars?
M&M's, Snickers, and Reese's.
M&M's is in a bar.
Yeah, what?
Oh, that's a little debate too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Really?
yours is Reese's. Reese's isn't either. Then.
Yeah, Reese's isn't either. I mean, it's a cup. It's
Oh,
not
you're
a-
saying Reese's isn't a candy bar?
I mean, it's a certain
Reese's Fast Break.
Okay, what about the Easter Reese's?
eggs.
Yeah, the
I
eggs.
think those generally get
The bunnies.
That's a bar.
The bunnies.
Reese's, period. Reese's is up there. I am a huge fan of Snickers, big Snickers guy. I'm also a big Heath bar guy.
Heath
To me, it's a sleeper. I like it more in my ice cream, but I'm a big Heath bar guy.
Heath isn't.
I know it's questionable. I understand. I
Sticks
get
to your
it.
teeth too,
Yeah,
right?
city
Like
moment.
caramel.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
But them first bites, man, and when you bite into the Heath bar too, and kind of like the aura, the vibe that comes off of the bar of the sensation that kind of goes in your mouth.
like
You know
that?
what I mean? I love that. No pause.
So you don't
give
like
a shit, dude.
You don't like
Candy bar reviews is going to be coming up soon.
There you go.
Did you see my mental going into trying to figure out what the taste was like?
Yeah, you said aura.
The boys do bars.
I do think it's a vibe.
The boys
you know
do
what I mean?
bars.
I think
You
when,
light them all up.
when you bite into a Heath bar, it's like I don't know. It's like an essential oil filling your mouth, like that Heath taste. You know what I mean?
I like that. It's an
But,
experience.
Yeah.
But you don't like Baby Ruth.
I like Baby Ruth. I like chocolate. I like nuts. I like caramel.
Yeah, I mean that's all in there.
I'm just surprised that it's actually making your top 3. He said, "Yeah, it's all." I'm
in
just
there,
surprised it's making your actual top 3. And Almond Joy, I get it. You like coconut. You need to seem like you got a healthier-ish bar in there. I just don't see how it's actually making your top 3 like that. Like there's so many good candy bars out there. Twix. We haven't talked about Twix.
See, I'm not the big wafer. I'm not like the wafer that much, but I like the chocolate and it's just chocolate and wafer, right?
Oh, the caramel sitting in there on top, dude.
The caramel?
Kit Kat bars.
Butterfinger?
Oh, Butterfinger.
See, no, not now.
You like Almond Joy over the what we just named?
Yeah, because see, I don't like. What was the one we just said?
The texture.
Twix.
No, Butterfinger. I don't like Butterfinger because I feel like it's fake. It's too fake of peanut butter.
I see what you're saying.
It's not like Reese's. That's like peanut butter you could put on a sandwich and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you can't. I don't like the Butterfinger.
I love Butterfingers, but Butterfingers you can't like have like small bites of Butterfingers because you take a bite and it flakes all over you. You know what I mean?
You just gotta shove the whole thing.
Yeah. What else we got? Milky Way. I was never a big Milky Way guy.
No.
We got
too soft. I like the crunch of a nut.
Rolos are good.
Crunch of a nut.
Crunch of a nut, bro.
Sorry, I'm immature.
Crunch of a nut, bro.
Hershey's, like it's like whatever. You know what I mean? Like just give me a Hershey's Kiss.
Hershey's is just chocolate.
Crunch Bar. Don't really care.
Mike, going back to the weigh-in thing.
Yeah. Whoa.
You ever? I'm sorry. I thought we were done with this. It sounded like we were done with it.
The boys are doing bars, bro.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
No. Go back to the fucking weigh-ins now. I am interrupting this podcast because I have found an incredible website you all have to check out. Nuts.com. Shout out nuts.com. No free shout outs. Nuts.com is the best kept secret of savvy snackers across the country. We're talking high quality variety, boys and girls. White chocolate toffee, cashews, bourbon pecans. Bourbon pecans sound amazing, by the way. Bourbon pecans, crystallized ginger, and honey sesame sticks. Nuts.com isn't just for nut lovers. No. It's your one-stop online pantry shop as well. An incredible variety of snacks and pantry items made available to you, like candies, dried fruits, and pantry items like baking mixes, pasta, and more. The simple and convenient way to have nutritious, delicious, healthy nuts, dried fruit, flours, grains, and so many more high-quality foods delivered straight to your door. Over 4,000 products to choose from. Delicious, healthy kid-family snacks like dried strawberries and custom trail mix. Plus, all the raw, organic, roasted, salted, and candied nuts you can imagine. Even chocolate dip nuts. Easy to navigate website with great photos of the products. A family-run business that takes great pride in getting you the freshest nuts.com stuff available. Nuts.com is your one-stop online pantry shop. Gluten-free and vegan options are also available. Fast delivery. Most orders ship the same day. Fresher products than a supermarket, boys. New Nuts.com customers get free shipping on your first order when you text Barstool, that's BARSTOOL, to 64,000. So text Barstool to 64,000 to get free shipping on your first order from Nuts.com. Barstool to 64,000. Terms apply. Available at Nuts.com/terms.
Back to the weigh-in thing.
Back to the fight thing.
You ever face-to-face with somebody at the weigh-in and then get in the octagon and be like, oh, shit, they are way bigger than they were the other night?
No, because I know I am.
Okay.
Like, I bet that's what they think about me.
Okay.
No free,
I like
no
that.
free shouts to me.
Yeah, no free shouts.
No free shouts to 185 me. No, no, I mean, I think sometimes, yeah, I mean, it is a crazy thing because you spend all this time thinking about your opponent. You spend all this time watching footage or maybe their fights or their highlights, their lowlights. Then you do the face off and the weigh in, and you see them on fight week. They're a little bit sucked down, a little bit frail. And then when you step inside the octagon, you're like, okay, that's the guy I'm fighting. He's a pretty big boy, Charles Oliveira was definitely taller than me, longer than me, but he was slender. I guarantee I weighed more than he did. But no, not really. I mean, we're all relatively the same size, Yeah,
you're built like an am staff.
I'm pretty
like
thick,
a pit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 2 C's.
Let's talk about the fight.
Mm-hmm.
First round, number one, me and my brother, shout out. Ain't no free shout outs to Cody Compton, but all free shout outs because he's a boy. Mm-hmm. We've obviously armchair QB'd this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why didn't you let him up? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the first round. Did you ever feel in trouble when he had your back? Like when you were, because you did a great job controlling the wrist, but were you ever, there's times where I was getting a little nervous. I was like, oh shit, especially when you picked him up and slammed him down. It didn't seem like it got him off of you. Mm-hmm. Were you ever feeling a little nervous about that?
So I wasn't, because I really feel comfortable when someone has my back that they're not going to choke me. I can shrug my shoulders and I don't have the longest neck, and it's like
Built like a pit. Yeah.
You know, so it's like I'm not that easy to choke for the most part. And then when I get hit, and I get wrist control and I get a one-on-one, or I get my two hands on his one wrist, which is what I did.
Yeah.
You know, I ate a couple shots because he had the one arm free, but for the most part, I knew I wasn't letting that bad dog go. And that's what I preach to all the young guys who are out there grappling. It's like, you get that one wrist, A, you're going to get out, and B, he can't choke you. So I held it and I had that sucker for like a full minute, I think. I mean, my forearms are sore as heck, and it's not from anything else besides probably holding that sucker for dear life. And then I usually am able to do exactly what I did. And he is literally the best grappler in the lightweight division, maybe one of the best grapplers on the planet. Most submission wins in the UFC, most submission wins in UFC history. And I didn't really feel in danger, and I was able to reverse it by keeping the 2-on-1, going over my head and spinning inside of his triangle that he had around my body. He had long legs, so he made a figure four. Not a triangle, he made a figure four around my body because his legs were so long, which is not an easy position. He's squeezing the heck out of you.
Yes.
But once you start getting sweaty, by that time we were sweaty, slammed him. It kind of loosened up a little bit. Then we kind of sat there a second. He threw a couple punches, a couple elbows, but I was kind of just buying my time waiting to explode, and I exploded and then got on top.
Yeah, and then you put on a little bit of a show. I thought they were going to stop the fight at one point. I thought, man, dude, I'm telling you, we were on our feet screaming, dude.
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to end up stopping the fight at that time.
And that's where I go back and forth, because I think if I would have just backed off and said, get up, maybe I could have knocked him out. But then again, I get a lot of finishes when I'm on top of a guy, just ground and pounding, grounding and pounding him. I have pretty good. He's just long. He's got those really long legs. So he was trying to keep me at bay. Threw a couple kicks, came back in. I'm trying to. You're aiming for the temple, the side of the head, hit the ear, jaw. Obviously landed some good ground and pound strikes. Couple elbows, cut him open. So I think it was a 50-50 thing. If you look at it and you think, man, woulda, shoulda, coulda, I probably should have just stood him up. We had about a minute 15 left. I maybe could have finished him on the feet. But then again, my intuition says if I got a guy hurt on his back, I'm going to be able to finish him on the ground. And I've done it numerous times in the past. So I don't say that was a bad decision. I think it was a decision that maybe could have yielded a knockout or a finish, but I also could have very easily just finished him on the ground as well, but I didn't.
When when Rogan and those guys talk about going back to your feet, like what is the benefit of that other than being on your feet and being like Mike's better on his feet, stuff like that? Like, is there an extra benefit, like an added benefit? Is it that he's dazed and he's shaken up and you're like making him stand up and he's going to have to fight without all that?
Yeah. So, I mean, conventional wisdom, and every fight's a little bit different. Every scenario is different depending on my attributes and his attributes. But conventional wisdom would say, okay, he just got dropped. I dropped him with the left hook, hit him a couple times. He's on the ground. He's kind of like dazed. I saw the way he was looking at me, kind of was looking at me like a deer in the headlights. So to me, I say I'm going in for the kill. I'm going to knock him out on the ground. But I also could have just backed off, said come up. He would have stood up, probably would have been a little bit wobbly, and if I landed a couple shots, my power punches on the feet were going to be more effective than the power punches on the bottom. But I also had the film study that said he had been finished on the ground before, and if Paul Felder can finish him on the floor or other guys can finish him on the floor, I could definitely finish him on the floor. So I think that's where I thought, okay, I can finish him on the ground. Or if I don't, I go back to my stool, confidence is sky high, he starts to wilt. And that's where I thought we were, and that's pretty much where we were, but he just, landed something in the second round and fight didn't happen.
Yeah, and then at the end of the first, obviously, you went back in at the last like 5 seconds, tried getting back in there. But is there a thought too, like, fuck, I should have backed up and stood up?
Not in the fight there wasn't, but now looking back at it, but that's the unfortunate thing about this too. You can always, after you lose.
Oh, 100%. We all know what you should have done.
We could have done this and maybe it would have been different, or I could have done that and maybe it would have been different. So the woulda, shoulda, couldas is such a tough game to play. And I try not to play it too much anymore because I trust myself. I mean, like I said, if I didn't, I knew I did everything that I possibly could to be successful that night.
Yeah.
To have no regrets. And then I also know that I trust myself to be in the fire. I trust myself, like, if say he doesn't finish me with that flurry and I'm like hurt or whatnot, I trust myself. I know myself to go into autopilot. I don't get finished, and I would have been able to fight for 20 more minutes and I would have won the fight. I truly believe that. But the fight happened how it happened. But I don't know. I trust myself to make the decisions.
Right, to make those
decisions
in the heat of the
fight.
moment. Yeah.
And, so I wouldn't say that I made a bad decision. I think I made a decision. And I think, now we get to, play woulda, shoulda, coulda if we want to.
For sure.
And I don't say that like we should or shouldn't. I mean, it's all.
I'm curious what's going on. Yeah, I'm just curious what's going on in your mind, like as the stuff plays out. Because I'm thinking in times where I should have made a different decision. I'll sit on the bench or something and be like, I should have done this. Like next time I'll get to see it. Obviously, we get more opportunities to see it again. But like, I'm just curious of the athlete in you. Like when you get to the end of that first round, you're like, I should have just stood this dude up.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're thinking I'm gonna whoop his ass in the second round. Everyone's excited going into that second round.
No matter what. I mean, there was 2 10-8s on the scorecard and 1 10-9 on the scorecard.
Right.
So two of those judges thought I beat him bad enough to give me a 10.
For sure.
So in that position, when you get done with the first round, I'm going back to the stool, back to the corner, confidence high. It's similar to if you mess up on the first down, you're not thinking about the first down, going to the second down, third down. You finish the drive, maybe you go back to the bench. Then you think about what I could have done differently. Like for me, that's more after the fight. Now it's like, whereas when I went back to the stool, I'm just listening to my coach. Coach Henry's in front of me. Coach Kami's behind me. We're talking about this, that, and the other thing. Keep it simple. Fight's going great. Fight's going just fine. I mean, at this point, the best grappler on the planet took my back, wasn't able to finish me, and even better, I reversed him, did damage, beat him up a little bit, was winning the striking battle on the feet. So I mean, the fight was going great. So it's at that point you're just
because if you end up winning that fight, no one's even talking about the first round. Like you should have stood him up. This is obviously all the hindsight. Like fuck the way you want to wake up from a dream and be like, hey, is it going to get to be redone? Yeah, exactly. But in the second round. Man, because he barely caught you. Yeah. And is it like the lights get fuzzy for a second and it was such a quick turnaround that you're just like, I just gotta quickly get back, like you said, and get back on this autopilot before because you almost get fucking out and he just catches you with that left hand to end it. Talk us through that. Yeah, I mean it's all it's all fuzzy, more than anything. But I mean, I remember getting hit. And I can also go back and watch the replay. So then when you watch the replay and then you try to close your eyes and think, okay, what did I actually see in the fight? You get clipped and then you're just moving, you're evading, you're trying to, you just go into survival mode. Cause I mean, there's the moments in the fight where you go into survival mode and you survive, and then you go into survival mode and you don't survive. Like this last one, I didn't, obviously, but I've been in those positions before where you got to go from, you're either extreme offense or your defense or your survival mode. In this particular fight, I went, kind of survival mode. You're fuzzy. You don't know which way is up. Your equilibrium's off, and you just, you're there, but you're not really there. And then before you know it, he runs away, and you're like, dang, fight's over, huh? Yeah, you're like, the ref's right here. And you're like, well, I could argue with this stoppage, but I probably shouldn't argue with this stoppage because this guy knows what he's doing, and I don't want to make an idiot out of myself, because we've all been there before too. Or we all have as fans have been like, why is he contesting that stoppage? He was A, getting beat up, or B, he tapped. And I mean, there's been fights where guys have tapped out completely. The guy gets up and runs away, and then the guy's like, why'd you stop the fight? And you're like, dude, you tapped. Do you not remember tapping? You were obviously out, So that's the hard part too, is it's, and I actually do, I'm blessed that I actually got to get on the mic after the fight and Joe came over, because sometimes Joe doesn't do that, and sometimes they don't interview the guy who lost, especially after a TKO or something like that. Because there's been guys who are like mumbling and zumbling, they're like, they're still out and they don't really remember what they're saying, or they're talking incoherently, and that's not good for the sport. That's not good for like Joe has like gone back on his podcast on a Monday after a Saturday fight, like, yeah, man, I shouldn't have interviewed that guy. That was my bad. I should have just cut it right, cut it. And they said, in my ear, they said, interview him. I just knew he was messed up. He stumbled over me. I shouldn't have done that. Cause that's just, not only is it a tough spot, the guy just got his hopes and dreams and heart ripped out, but he's also, maybe he's not there coherently. But for me, I was able to get on the mic and I said my piece, and shout out to, Oliveira. No free shouts, but no free shouts. He beat me. He's the world champ, and hat tip to him, and let people know I'll be back. And it's all part of it. Do you know who you think you might be fighting? I don't. Who would be on your radar? Like, I don't know. People still around Gaethje. People, obviously, what's going to happen after Conor and Poirier fight, and like maybe the loser of that or something like that, like who are people that would be on the radar for you, or that would make that you think in your mind would make sense for you and possibly the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, essentially anybody in the top 5 makes sense. You know, the division moves so fast, the sport moves so fast. I mean, that's what the UFC brass, talk to them after the fight, and they're just like, hey man, keep your head up, keep working, man. This sport moves fast. It's a what have you done for me lately business. You're only as good as your last fight, but when you're world class and you're in the top 5, you're world class and you're in the top 5. And I've only fought Dan Hooker and Charles Oliveira at this point. Like you said, there's Poirier, there's Gaethje, there's Conor, there's Ferguson, Beneil Dariush is now in the top 5. There's no shortage of guys to fight. But at this point, obviously Conor and Poirier are fighting July 10th. We can see who the winner or the loser of that is. You got Tony Ferguson, who just lost, Beneil Dariush, who just came in. Traditionally, a guy who comes off a win fights a guy who comes off a win. A guy who comes off a loss fights a guy who comes off a loss, and then one guy moves up and one guy continues to move down. So I think really any of those names make sense. I mean, the only one that's kind of a wild card is Conor, because Conor does have a little bit more say than most guys. I think if he loses this fight, though, he's still not going to fight me. I think me and Conor don't match up well for him, because he's a striker and I could grapple the heck out of him if I wanted to, I think it's a bad fight for him. Whereas if I was the champion and Conor won, Conor would go for the title no matter what and fight, whatever, just like he fought Khabib. So I mean, Gaethje, or if Poirier loses, or Ferguson, those are
Ferguson
three.
He's getting old.
He is, but he's entertaining, man. People love him.
People do love him. People yell Tony.
People love him at the press conference, man. He broke out the greatest line of all time, freaking Dana White privilege. It was freaking hilarious.
Hey, that's amazing,
dude. It was like, for the time that we live in, obviously that's somewhat of a negative connotation, the whole white privilege thing, and but
that's funny as shit, dude. Dana White privilege.
Dana White, he's like, man, you got this thing handed to you, man. You got Dana White privilege, and Dana just bah. And I look up at Dana, I'm like, thanks, Dana. It's just so, man. It's a fun group of I want to beat them all. I want to fight them all, but it's a fun group of guys to be in with. We're gonna have some fun the next couple of years, and I just hope it culminates at some point with me fighting for the world title again. And really, all that needs to happen is me win 1, 2, 3, however many more fights.
Right. So show out the next fight.
No, show out the next fight. Continue to show that I'm world class and why I'm here. And and that's the thing too. When it's such a crazy game of inches, and you're fighting the best guys in the entire world. So yeah, I lost, but I lost to the number 3 guy in the world. I lost to the eventual world champion.
Yeah.
So it's not as though now I need to go fight number 20 or I need to fight number 15. It's like, no, okay, now I'll fight number 4, or I'll fight number 2, or I'll fight number 5, or I'll fight. I'm number 4. I'll probably still be, number 3 or 4 when the rankings come out on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Oh, so we'll know tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
You lost to the eventual champion with a 10-8 round.
Well, that's the thing too. You
know what I mean? It's not like you lost to the world champion on a 10-8 first round.
Yeah, there's some people out there who were like, hey, immediate rematch. Let's go Chandler Oliveira 2 right away. That's a possibility. Do I think that's going to happen? Yeah. But if I got Dana White privilege, we need
that Dana White privilege, baby, for that run it back.
This is just a joke. These people, the freaking MMA fans are going to hate me. This guy, we hated him from the beginning, and this is why we hate him now.
Tomorrow night, he's just scrolling on Twitter and Instagram, and he just sees that one clip. Hey, if I get that Dana White privilege, and that's all it is.
Well, at this point,
he's like, hey, what the fuck, man? What are you guys doing?
Point, you just got to run with it, man. Especially something like that. There's a little bit of the thing happening in the world with that, and then there's also Dana White's last name, and it was said by a guy named Tony by the guy like Tony Ferguson. It's all part of it, but I think the general thread, and even if I just take myself out of it and I just look at my body of work coming into the UFC, and then what I did, we just got done saying, man, I came out hot. I did everything that was asked of me. I showed up like the blue collar Midwest kid with his work boots on, just like my dad. I showed up with my work boots on. When the phone rang, I said yes. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, every single time they called. And 2 or 3 other times whenever guys didn't take the fight. I was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson October 24th. He said no. Was supposed to fight Dustin Poirier October 24th. He said no. Was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson January 23rd. He said no. And then even when I beat Dan Hooker, January 23rd, they said, hey, do you want to be the co-main event against Charles Oliveira February 13th? And I said, yes. I was at Kane Prime here in Nashville. I had a steak in front of me.
Ooh.
I had a glass of wine.
Yeah,
no free shouts to Kane Prime. M Street, all the restaurants, they're great.
They're fucking great though. Kane Prime's great though, bro.
So, and I stopped eating my steak right there. I said, check please, we'll take it to go box. I was on a date with my wife. Hunter Campbell called and said, hey, would you do this? And I said yes. And then Charles Oliveira eventually turned it down. It was on 3 weeks notice. I was going to fight Charles Oliveira February 13th. So these are all just the things that have happened.
It's sick.
Yeah, so these are the things that have happened outside of the fights that I've actually had that I think I was rewarded for. That's why I got the title shot. You know, it's
You've always stayed ready.
stayed ready, and the UFC is the biggest and baddest promotion on the planet, and they keep things moving very fast in a forward trajectory. And if you're on board with them, if you're on the wagon with them moving forward, and you're gonna say yes, you're gonna be rewarded for it. And you got to be a good employee first. You know, if you're a good employee first, you get put in a great position. And this is in the corporate world, the business world, other sports worlds, or mixed martial arts. Be a good employee first. Be a good ambassador for your organization. Be a good ambassador for your weight class, and a good ambassador for yourself. And then things will usually work out well for you. And I think that's why I got the title shot. And now continue to operate with through the same vein that I have since day one. And we'll get a fight, and then we'll see what happens after that.
I love it. You want to do an ad read?
Yeah.
Would you like to do one?
Yeah. It's not like,
Yeah, like you do it.
which one is it? Yeah.
Slick Spirited Ice. Shout out Slick Spirited Ice. No free shout outs. Also, that brought to you the whole episode thing. Chandler, go ahead and take it away where it says introduction. I can read it. Yeah? Yeah, bro.
The time has come for Happy Hour to finally live up to its name with the introduction of Slick Spirited Ice. Slick is a brand new, hard, yes, that means boozy, freezer pop that is crafted with elevated flavors to inspire good times. Available in different premium spirit offerings, including rum and agave, 8% alcohol by volume, 100% calories or less, each naturally flavored to deliver incredible and refreshing taste.
Convenient
Do we not
enough
say? Oh,
to
okay.
throw in the cooler and bring along to the backyard barbecue, boating on the lake, or day blazing at a pool party. Do the mandatory call to action.
Yep. So swap your typical summer cocktail or seltzer with Slick Spirited Ice. Scoop up a box or 2 or 10 at your local Walmart or liquor store and load your freezer for the upcoming weekend. Just know that once you slick, sipping will never be the same. To learn more, go to slickspiritidice.com.
This ad has been brought to you by 21 Holdings LLC in West Chicago, Illinois. It must be 21 and up to purchase and consume. Please drink responsibly. Hey, that was thank you, but that was solid.
You went low, man. You went low with the
I tried doing
disclaimer.
that little undertone voice, at the end. When
It was so good. It was kind of fast.
Oh yeah, I tried to do a little fast paced voice.
It was good.
You did a solid job reading.
Well, I can read. Luckily. Thank God I can read.
He just goes in the most genuine way. Well, I can read.
I can read. Contrary to popular belief, most fighters can read. Most of us.
It's surprising that you can read, being
I
that you're a
knocked out
fighter.
48 hours ago, but I could definitely read about Slick Spirited Ice.
Yeah. What do we got? What do we have, Alex? You have some stuff popped up. Did we have any fan questions? Any good ones? Any good videos?
Yeah, we got some
comments.
I need to leave in a few minutes.
What time? Yeah,
Pick
what
up my
time is
son.
it?
It's 2:14. I got to be there by 2.
Oh yeah. One question with him, and then
Hey, it's
you
daddy
can
duty,
bounce.
man.
Dude, I know. I love
Monday
it.
morning, took Hap to school, hit the sauna, did the bus.
How often do you go to the YMCA and hit that sauna?
Just depends. I mean, often.
I would
Well,
love
actually, the sauna just now got back open from COVID.
Now, is it it's not an infrared, it's straight hot sauna,
Yeah, there's
right?
a one hot
Traditional.
sauna, and then there's a steam room as well.
Would love to join you one day.
Green Hills. Let's go, bro.
Yeah. I was looking into going yesterday, but they were closed by the time I got home because I drove back from Missouri and wanted to sit in the old sauna and sweat everything out from the weekend from partying hard for the boy.
For the boy.
But yeah, I would love to join you.
It's good, man.
So whenever you go this week, just let me know when you're going to go.
Be good.
What do we have here? Jacob Schaffner. UFC
Shout out
versus
Bussin with the
Bellator.
boys. Shout out the GOAT, Michael Chandler. So I got 2 questions, one for the boys, one for Michael Chandler. For Michael, what's the difference in like a UFC title fight and a Bellator title fight? And how was that preparing and the atmosphere like in Houston? And what do you think you'll change or do something different at all if you do anything for your next title fight in the UFC? Because we obviously know you're going to be back, no doubt, greatest ever. And then for the boys, do you think you'll ever do one of those celebrity boxing matches like the Paul brothers are doing? And if so, do you think Taylor could kick Logan Paul's ass? Maybe, maybe not, but that's just the questions. Shout out to the boys. Love you. Taylor and Will, I guess you're my dads, but see you at the top.
Yes.
Hey, see you at the top.
Came with the see you at the top.
Yeah,
Man, great.
shout out Jacob Schaffner.
Thanks, Jacob. Man, a great question because I obviously fought the majority of my career in Bellator.
Yeah.
The number 2 organization, and the UFC's been around the longest. I would say the biggest difference is I won 3 world titles in Bellator, fought for the world title numerous times, defended the title numerous times, and they were in big crowds. They were in big arenas. The atmosphere was big, but this time was different because everybody knows, or if you don't know, you're kidding yourself. Fighting for the UFC title means you are the number 1 guy in the world, 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's just how it is. So when I was stood across the octagon from Charles Oliveira, I knew the winner of this was to become the number 1 guy in the world. And if I won, I was going to be not just the UFC world champion, but the world champion, the number 1 guy in the world. So I wouldn't say there was that pressure, but there was that confident expectancy of the excitement of what it was going to be had I won the fight. And then really just, as we've talked about, the UFC is just a well-oiled machine. The UFC has quarterbacked and championed the entire sport, the entire industry, and built it into what it is. Essentially, the other organizations, there's about 3 or 4 other major organizations outside of the UFC. They can all just show up to venues, put on shows, and they don't have to do a ton of promotion because the UFC is putting on such big shows, touching every corner of the globe, putting so much money into marketing and building the sport that really all the other organizations can just show up and throw fights and they'll do decently well because the UFC is building the sport so much.
Do you?
And it's very apparent when you're there.
Is it pretty dope when Bruce Buffer's just going off introducing you?
It's dope.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, I'm in this fucking ring. He's introducing me.
It's dope. And even just some like, I started watching. My teammate was on the first guy on the card, the first fight of the card.
Dude, that was a fucking banger fight.
Yeah, great, man. This guy named Sean Soriano.
Yeah.
And I was watching the fight, and then they'd say, okay, now that this fight is over, let's turn our eyes to what's going to happen later tonight. And then it was like Chandler and Oliveira, and I was like, I've watched so many UFC pay-per-views, and I've watched the prelims, getting pumped up to watch the fights.
Yeah.
But this time they were talking about me, and I was in my hotel room, and in the window behind me was the Toyota Center right back there, a couple hundred yards away, where I was about to report just a couple hours later to go handle business and go fight for the title that they are talking about on my computer screen right now. So it was cool, man. And Bruce Buffer and they did the blackout completely with the lights around the octagon. I mean, which I've seen on TV on the pay-per-views, but this time it was me inside the octagon, and I rose to the occasion. I lost the fight, but I rose to the occasion. I had a fight. I did everything I could. I felt like I was where I was supposed to be, man. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but that's the beauty of this freaking sport, man. You take your losses, you take the wins. You never take the wins for granted because they aren't that easy to come by, and you definitely don't take the UFC title fight, the title shot for granted because those are hard to come by too. So I believe we'll get another one eventually, but we'll see.
I appreciate you coming, bro. I know you got to go be a dad.
Got to go be a dad, man. Back to daddy duty.
Yeah.
It's good, man. This is where I want to be, though.
Hey, what do you think Dana, the way Jake Paul calls out Dana White for not paying fighters?
I don't know. Dana pays me well.
Yeah.
So we're always going to complain about, don't we all? Like, there's guys in the NFL who want to make more money. Like, we all want to make more money. And I get MMA and the UFC is a little bit different because we don't have a players association or a union or whatnot, but we also just started 29 years ago. So we're still in our infancy as far as a sport goes, man. As far as I'm concerned, the UFC has championed and quarterbacked the entire industry, and the only reason that we are able to make a paycheck whatsoever is because of the sleepless nights and the hard work that Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, who started the UFC, bought it for $2 million. Right. And they just sold it for like $6 billion a while back. Now we're owned by William Morris Endeavor, and just to see the growth of the industry. So I mean, that's just a way that Jake Paul especially. Not
Yeah,
Logan.
it seems
Logan's a little
too
more.
right. It seems too outside of anything monetary. Like the UFC is like first class in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't have the whole monetary. Like obviously, there's arguments for the I made this boxing. Like all the fighters in the UFC get this. But as far as everything else in the total package, it just seems like it is one of the premier organizations to be a part of.
Oh, for sure. That and then the other thing too is we can't point our finger at our promoter when really we should be pointing our finger at the man in the mirror who is not. You can monetize yourself, your brand, your voice, your platform, your sales. You can with the platform that the UFC gives you, you can become a millionaire outside of your fight purses with the promotion and the platform that they give you, 100% unequivocally. Especially some of these guys. Look where my following has gone just in the last couple months, and I've only had 2 fights in the UFC. And if I want to monetize that, if I want to start a podcast, if I want to write,
Which
a
you
book,
will one day.
No, I mean, I can read ads pretty darn good.
You can.
So,
That was the first one. The Fighter and the
but
Boy.
Yeah, the Fighter and the Boy.
Yeah.
So no free shouts to the Fighter and the Boy. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But you can monetize a brand. You can build a brand, and you can make money outside of just your fight purses. So if you're mad at your promoter because you're not getting paid enough inside the octagon, well, take it upon yourself to take the attention that you can grab from every single one of these fights and monetize it. So that's my 2 cents, but I'm also a bootstraps. The man in the mirror is the guy who needs to do the work, not the other people kind of guy anyway. So that's
Who can read good?
I can read pretty good, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for having me. Man.
Go pick up.
Win,
Hat,
lose
man.
or draw, we were coming on the bus.
I know, and now that I heard you're going to be in town for a couple of months. Like the boys can hang, man.
Boys can hang, and if Taylor gets sick, man, you put me right here.
I won't hesitate. I won't hesitate.
I don't have the mustache, but I could.
We can figure something out.
About 100 pounds less than him.
Yeah.
150 pounds less.
Yeah, let's do that math. But appreciate
Thanks,
you,
boys.
bro.
Thanks, boys, for having me. I appreciate it.
Big shout out to you guys. If you enjoyed this episode and love and support Bussin' with the Boys, go to whatever podcast platform you're on and subscribe to us. Leave a review, rate 5 stars. If you're already subscribed, unsubscribe and resubscribe again. It helps the boys climb the charts. And again, we wouldn't be doing this and can't do this without you guys and all of your support. We also have a YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch our show or these episodes, they're on YouTube at Bussin' with the Boys. We're also on social media at Bussin' WTB. You can follow us everywhere. Go buy our merch. You guys know that whole deal. But thank you so much. We are forever grateful for you. The biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses for the boys, always and forever.